Over time, I began to notice that the market had ceased to be something external to me. Previously, I had viewed the chart as a set of signals that needed to be interpreted correctly. Now, however, there was a sense of dialogue, not in a mystical sense, but as the result of a deep understanding of price behavior and market participants. This did not mean that I had started to guess the market. Quite the opposite. The need to guess had disappeared. Anticipation and reaction came to the fore. I began to act more and more often, not because it seemed right, but because there were specific conditions under which a trade made sense. And if those conditions were not present, then there was no trade. Interestingly, at this stage, the number of actions dropped sharply. Fewer trades, fewer unnecessary moves, fewer emotional decisions. Yet overall efficiency increased. I came to realize that activity does not equal results. I began to work even more deeply with the context. Now it's not just about trends or flat markets, but also the behavior of market participants, where the market accelerates, where it slows down, and where false movements appear. These are subtle nuances that cannot be described by a single formula, but it is precisely these that give you the edge. Gradually, a sense of rhythm began to take shape. Every instrument and every session has its own dynamics. In some places, the movements are more impulsive. In others, they are smooth and drawn out. And once you start to feel this, decisions are made more quickly and with greater confidence. At the same time, I've become more cautious about my own confidence. Paradoxically, the more you understand, the less you want to take unnecessary risks. I've stopped seeing a good run of trades as a reason to become more aggressive. On the contrary, it's a signal to stick to the current approach and not stray from the system. I paid particular attention to dealing with drawdowns. They haven't gone away, but my attitude towards them has changed. Now, it's not a stressful situation, but part of the process that needs to be managed properly. I understand in advance which periods might be difficult and adapt to them. I've also started spending more time away from the market. Analysis, preparation, and reviewing trades, all of this has become more important than the trading itself. The paradox is that the less time you spend on active trading, the higher the quality of those trades. These days, I find myself thinking more and more about how to make the process even more sustainable, not just within the framework of a single strategy, but as a whole, as a system. How to minimize the impact of chance, how to protect capital, how to maintain effectiveness across different market conditions. I've also developed a more relaxed attitude towards the outcome. It's important, but it no longer dictates my state of mind. I understand that if the process is structured correctly, the result will follow. If I were to describe this stage in a single word, it would be balance. A balance between analysis and action, between confidence and caution, between risk and capital preservation. And perhaps for the first time ever, I have the feeling that I am not simply adapting to the market, but beginning to work with it on the same level of understanding. Neither above nor below it, but in harmony with its logic.